It's been a couple of weeks now since the modern weapon pack was released, and I think it's about time to start trying to work them into normal loadouts and maybe stop just carrying all three of the ARs, and I thought Te Awaroa would be a good map to do that on. And of course, it's become pretty clear the 308 AR-10 is probably the most useful for at least the most number of species in Call of the Wild, and that's the one that I kind of wanted to work into a loadout today. So fallow deer are drinking, we're in multiplayer so they don't want to cause too much hunting pressure, but a couple of bucks we can bring down, and as we're kind of heading over here to pick them up, we'll go through our loadout real quick. And really, the release of this modern weapon pack has made me realize that I want to get back to using the Mosin a little bit more. The reason for that is, as I apparently don't have any ammo in it at the moment, I believe the slight accuracy issue that the ARs have is the exact same issue that the Mosin has, and we've been just fine firing the ARs rather accurately. We've made heart shots, neck shots, and stuff like that, so I think if we can deal with that, we can deal with the Mosin, and I would still contest that it is the best class 3 weapon in the game, so I think it'll be good to get to use that again. Kind of unfortunate silver on that level 4, but of course that's going to be our feral goat and chamois weapon. Then we have a shotgun for the rabbits, and just the 22 fire for turkeys or long-range rabbits. I don't know that I would call it a rare necessarily, but you don't see a ton of Black Spot's male feral pig, and the estimate's kind of promising to where he might be able to actually make gold, and we'll stick with the 308 here. I considered maybe using the Mosin, but I mean that is the entire purpose of carrying the 308 for animals of that size. I have no idea what that circling kind of motion he was doing was, but I think that's going to be a lung shot, or at the very least liver. Looks good to me. I actually didn't think we'd get to see any of the blood, but the water is shallow enough. So, it is a gold 102.1. We've had a number of Black Spot's golds before. It did require that liver shot, by the way. A little further back than we would have wanted. But I mean, definitely cool to see. I don't know if I've taxed the ones that we've had in the past. Might as well go ahead and tax it, and worst case scenario we can go maybe in the second lodge, but there's fallow all around. I don't know that any of them are really all that special, and again, we're in multiplayer, so we'll try to go easy on the hunting pressure. It should be noted, by the way, that the accuracy issue with the Mosin was really only a concern in the sense that maybe a longer shot could be thrown off enough to potentially miss out on a vital hit for a diamond, but for closer shots like that, it really was never something to worry about, and I was kind of hoping to maybe get a second one there. They all kind of took off pretty quick. I'm not actually sure. We literally just had that uneven Roosevelt elk over on Layton. Looking at this feral goat, it's no doubt the same kind of thing. It's uneven where one side maybe even is a diamond horn and one side is not. And again, I don't recall ever shooting one of those. It's maybe not as obvious while prone, but I think we'll be able to see it in the harvest screen a bit better. He's a 186. Yeah, I mean, you can just see how much bigger this horn is. We go into the true score. Yeah, that left side, 8, call it inches better than the right side. I assume that's kind of what would make the most sense. The left side's just bigger in most of these different categories. But yeah, left lung at 127 meters with the Mosin. Again, at that range, it was never a concern. It was just those maybe 300-meter shots where being off by a couple of pixels is enough to make the difference between, say, a lung shot and an intestine shot. But I don't know, we've been good again, like I said, with the ARs, even at long range. So maybe we'll start carrying it kind of long term. I don't know that these are necessarily uncommon. I really don't pay that much attention to the female feral goats in general, but it just kind of occurred to me when this one was out ahead of us, and especially given the fact that we're at the end of this lake anyway, this might be a little feral goat Hall of Shame edition, and it's sort of a long-term goal with that Hall of Shame, or the Hall of Small as you guys suggested to call it, to have at least one of every species in there, kind of like what we do with diamonds in the main lodge. So I don't know that the male feral goats ever get that small, and because the females actually can get some significant size, this might be the way to go. And also, I'm not sure how low a level a male feral goat can get. Now, I would say this is not the minimum weight, although 0.15, sometimes you get a minimum at the 0.15 or 0.25 something like that, but it is a bronze. Yeah, well below silver. Why not? Why don't we send that to the Hall of Small, and worst case scenario, it can be replaced by something later, but I do feel like usually you get those horns that kind of have the curve in them. Now this is the specific reason that I really wanted to bring back the Mosin. There's not a lot of species that the 243 doesn't do great on, but chamois in particular are very resilient, and I mean a long shot's fine obviously, but they end up running for quite some distance, and in my opinion at least you never like to see that when you make a good shot. You expect the animal to go down pretty quickly, and I think with the Mosin and the chamois that happens a lot more often. By the way, random observation, the chamois lift their head while drinking. I believe that is like a bit of a bug with the other species, but at least you can still get the shot in for these guys. So it does help, of course, to go for a hard shot as opposed to a lung shot, but figured with that angle we'd go for it, and just, I mean, whatever that was, 170 meters or something. It does show that the Mosin's not that inaccurate, but I definitely have had the occasional inaccurate shot that I can't really explain, but at least for now it seems to be doing good. I'm not 100% sure that I recognize this particular fur type. It might be because it's a little bit dark still. It is a 54.7 gold, kind of close to the diamond rate. 58 is the number to get there. 180 meters though, right into the heart, kind of the right side as I would expect. Good size chamois though, it's the brown fur type. I like that one. We've had a number of diamond chamois, and I don't even know like what all fur types we actually have. I feel like that's one that we don't though. Well, if the last one had a slight change, this one has a real shot, 55 to 63. If I'm not mistaken, that is the honeytones fur type, which when the creator beta for Te Awaroa happened, that was the one fur type I was able to get a diamond of. And ever since then, all my time spent on Te Awaroa since the map actually came out, we have not had a honeytones one, and it's one of my absolute favorites. So fingers crossed, it would be interesting if that actually happened on a level 4, but it only needs to be, what, 3 above the minimum to reach diamond. Oh, okay. Or we can just have a 5 out there and maybe double our odds of maybe getting one. Let's go and check out this 4 first. I want to go ahead and get in range. We've talked about the slight inaccuracy issues, and I'm definitely not willing to just lob a really long shot before I'm a little more familiar with the Mosin, so we'll take our time. Oddly enough, the 4 had a much better estimate, so I think that's the honeytones. It is a diamond at 59.6. I thought that almost looked like the bigger horns. It might legitimately be bigger than the level 5, in which case that would be something pretty crazy, but that's really cool. Seeing a 4 and then the 5 right across the way there. I don't know what fur type that is. He only goes up to 60. I mean, we'll try to slot another hard shot in there with the Mosin and get him too. Is that honeytones as well? I can almost believe that it is, because it's kind of back in the shadows like that. If there were 2 diamond chamois side by side, we've had a couple of scenarios where we had a 5 and a big 4, similar to what we just had there, and always the 5 made it and the 4 ended up trolling. I mean, this is the variance though. That's a max weight 4 too, and it's not even close. But if this 5 makes it, that would be a first for us with 2 in one spot. That's looking like honeytones as well. To me, it doesn't look as big. We'll see. Yeah, trolled us at 56.2. If not for the 4, I would be kind of crushed. I really wanted a honeytones diamond. And, you know, let's say we spooked the 4 and never saw it. We'd be looking here at only a honeytones troll, but it's all good. We got the diamond anyway. And, yeah, now we can just kind of keep on going. I wanted to maybe spend some time chasing things other than chamois and feral ghosts, but we kind of got into this loop of going after all of them. I think this may be a fitting spot to actually wrap up this video. Anytime that I'm on Te Awaroa, I always go and look for Sika deer. I think maybe beyond the rare gold fallow deer, basically other than an albino that I want, which that's a whole separate story. The main thing that I want to get from this map would be an albino male Seeker deer. And, you know, maybe one day it'll eventually happen, whether it's in single player from grinding or in multiplayer. But I figure it's always worth the look, and unfortunately that guy was very much not albino, but I think a good way to kind of wrap up and we'll head back to the Trophy Lodge with our new diamond chamois. And real quick, to go back to that, because I got distracted by the fact that it did troll. Once again, we're stuck not having to diamond chamois at one lake. I mentioned having multiple opportunities where a 5 made it and then a 4 was just short. This time the 4 made it and the 5 trolled, so go figure. So for now at least, I decided to throw our diamond honeycomb chamois up here where a Melanis Akudu was. I've talked about this before, there's nothing wrong with them per se, but since they had a Truax, I mean you see this gold at 26.2, if we go into the other room, a diamond now is 151.8, and of course the old diamond there at 33. It just doesn't make sense, so I intend to hopefully find some Truax rares or more Truax diamonds, and for now, a proper Truax diamond chamois up here, and it was the one I wanted, the fur type I wanted from years ago, finally accomplished today. But anyway, I think that is officially going to do it for this video, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.